February 9, 2004. A lonely stretch of road cuts through the frozen wilderness of northern New Hampshire. The sun has long disappeared behind the mountains. Snow blankets the forest. And somewhere in the darkness, a 21-year-old college student is about to vanish. Not months later. Not days later. But within minutes. A local resident looks out his window after hearing what sounds like a car crash. He sees a black sedan sitting against a snowbank. The driver appears shaken but unharmed. He offers help. She refuses. She tells him she has already called roadside assistance. But according to investigators, there is one problem. There is no cell phone service in the area. No roadside assistance was ever called. And when police arrived just a few minutes later, the driver is gone. No footprints. No signs of a struggle. No witnesses seeing her leave. Nothing. More than 2 decades later, nobody knows exactly what happened to Maura Murray. Did she voluntarily disappear? Was she picked up by a stranger? Did she wander into the freezing wilderness? Or did something far darker happen that night? This is one of the most baffling missing person mysteries in modern American history. And tonight, we're diving deep into every clue, every theory, and every unanswered question surrounding the disappearance of Maura Murray. Before she became the center of an international mystery, Maura Murray was a normal college student. Born in Massachusetts, Maura was known as intelligent, athletic, and driven. Friends described her as quiet but determined. She excelled in sports and academics. After attending West Point for a period of time, she transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she studied nursing. On the surface, everything appeared normal. But in the days leading up to her disappearance, cracks began to appear. On Thursday, February 5, 2004, Maura was working a campus security job when something strange happened. According to reports, she received a phone call. Whatever was said on that call appeared to deeply upset her. A supervisor later recalled finding her visibly emotional. When asked what was wrong, she reportedly replied, "My sister." Then she became silent. No one knew exactly what she meant. But investigators would later scrutinize this moment for clues. Was this the beginning of a personal crisis? Or simply an unrelated coincidence? At the time, nobody could have imagined the significance this moment would later take on. Just days later, another troubling incident occurred. Maura crashed her father's car after attending a gathering. The accident caused significant damage. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured. Still, the event added another layer of stress to an already complicated situation. Friends later wondered if Maura was struggling with pressures that few people fully understood. School, family responsibilities, relationships, financial concerns. Whatever was happening beneath the surface, something seemed to be weighing heavily on her mind. Then came Monday, February 9, 2004. The last day anyone could definitively trace her movements. Earlier that day, Maura emailed professors. She claimed there had been a death in the family. Investigators later determined this wasn't true. No family member had died. Why did she say it? Nobody knows. She also emailed her employer. Then she packed belongings from her dorm room. Textbooks, clothing, personal items. Some investigators believed it looked as though she intended to leave for several days. Others argued she was simply taking a short trip. Before leaving Amherst, she withdrew nearly all the money from her bank account, approximately $280. She purchased alcohol from a nearby store. Wine, vodka, Bailey's Irish Cream. Then she got into her black Saturn sedan and began driving north. Nobody knows exactly where she intended to go. There was no confirmed reservation under her name. No confirmed destination. Only questions. And those questions would soon multiply. Around 7:27 p.m. residents near Route 112 heard a loud noise. A vehicle had apparently crashed. One of those residents was a former school bus driver named Butch Atwood. Looking outside, he saw a young woman standing near the damaged Saturn. Concerned, he approached. According to his account, the woman appeared cold but not seriously injured. He offered assistance. She declined. She insisted help had already been called. Something about the interaction felt unusual. Butch later returned home and contacted emergency services. "There's been an accident down the road. Young woman. Looks okay, but someone should check on her." Police were dispatched immediately. The drive should have taken only a few minutes. Yet when officers arrived, the driver had vanished. Completely. The Saturn remained. Maura did not. And that is where the mystery truly begins. When police arrived at the crash scene, they expected to find a stranded driver. Instead, They found a mystery. The black Saturn sat abandoned along Route 112. The engine was cold. The airbags had deployed. Inside the vehicle were several personal belongings. But the one thing investigators needed most was missing. Maura Murray. And as officers scanned the dark tree line surrounding the road, they realized something unsettling. A young woman had disappeared in the narrow window between a witness seeing her at the vehicle and police arriving moments later. The timeline was incredibly tight. Some estimates suggest fewer than 10 minutes had passed. Yet that was apparently all the time it took. Investigators began examining the Saturn. Inside, they discovered alcohol containers. Some appeared opened. A strong odor of alcohol was reportedly detected inside the vehicle. This immediately raised an important question. Had Maura been drinking before the crash? And if so, did fear of legal trouble cause her to flee the scene? At first, that theory seemed plausible. But as hours passed and temperatures dropped deeper below freezing, concern began to grow. Because if Maura had simply walked away from the accident, where was she? Volunteers, tracking dogs, search and rescue personnel. Everyone focused on the wilderness surrounding the crash site. The conditions were harsh. Snow covered much of the ground. The forest stretched for miles in every direction. Yet investigators believed the snow might provide answers. If Maura had entered the woods, there should have been footprints, tracks, some indication of where she had gone. But searchers found almost nothing. No clear trail leading into the forest. No evidence suggesting she had wandered away. No signs of injury. No signs of a struggle. No sign of Maura. The absence of evidence became one of the strangest clues in the entire case. It was as if she had simply vanished from the road. One of the most discussed pieces of evidence emerged several days later. Investigators brought in tracking dogs. The dogs were given an item believed to carry Maura's scent. They followed a path away from the Saturn. Then something unusual happened. The scent appeared to stop abruptly in the roadway. Not in the woods. Not near a nearby home. Not along a hiking trail. Directly on the road. To some investigators, this suggested a chilling possibility. Perhaps Maura had entered another vehicle. Perhaps someone had picked her up. If true, it would dramatically change the direction of the investigation. But even this clue came with uncertainty. Critics later questioned the reliability of the scent article used. Others wondered whether weather conditions affected the results. Once again, the case offered questions instead of answers. One of the earliest theories remains one of the simplest. After crashing her vehicle, Maura may have panicked. If she had been drinking, she may have feared arrest. Rather than waiting for police, she could have left the scene voluntarily. Perhaps she entered the woods to avoid contact with law enforcement. Perhaps she became disoriented. Perhaps she succumbed to the freezing temperatures. The region around the crash site contains rugged terrain, hidden ravines, dense vegetation, areas difficult to search thoroughly. Supporters of this theory argue that accidental exposure remains possible. But there is a problem. Years of searches have produced no confirmed trace of Maura. No clothing. No remains. No personal belongings. Nothing. For many observers, that absence is difficult to explain. Another theory suggests Maura accepted a ride from a passing motorist. Imagine the scene. A young woman. A damaged vehicle. Nightfall approaching. No cell service. No obvious way home. In that situation, accepting help may have seemed reasonable. But if the wrong person stopped, the consequences could have been catastrophic. Investigators have examined numerous individuals over the years. Tips poured in. Rumors spread throughout the region. Names surfaced and disappeared. Yet despite decades of scrutiny, no evidence has definitively linked any suspect to Maura's disappearance. Still, many followers of the case believe this remains one of the most likely explanations. Because unlike the wilderness theory, it offers a possible reason why no physical trace has ever been found. More than 2 decades have passed. The road remains. The forest remains. The mystery remains. Investigators continue to receive tips. Researchers continue to revisit the evidence. And somewhere within the thousands of pages of reports, interviews, and witness statements may lie the detail capable of finally breaking the case open. Or perhaps the answer disappeared with Maura that winter night. Waiting. Hidden. Just beyond reach. On February 9, 2004, a young woman's vehicle crashed along a quiet New Hampshire road. Minutes later, she was gone. No confirmed sightings. No definitive explanation. No resolution. Only silence. Perhaps Maura Murray became lost in the wilderness. Perhaps she encountered someone with dangerous intentions. Perhaps the truth is something nobody has yet imagined. What makes this case so haunting isn't simply the mystery. It's the emptiness left behind. The unanswered phone calls. The missing years. The family still searching for answers. And the realization that, even in a world filled with cameras, technology, and constant connection, a person can still vanish. Completely. As long as Maura Murray remains missing, the questions remain alive. And somewhere, hidden in the darkness of that February night, the truth is still waiting to be found.